So, Coffee and Conversation with James.
And Melissa.
And we have a guest.
Yes.
And so we have to bring people in here once in a while to have coffee and conversation. I don't know if she's drinking coffee or not. Are you drinking coffee, tea?
I actually don't drink coffee. I drink a crime against humanity. The way I make my coffee, I realized that I couldn't for a very long time. I'm like, what is wrong with my coffee? And then I realized it was me. And every morning I didn't make coffee, I committed a crime against humanity. And so I have this.
She has that. It's Veronika, kids. Hey, Veronika.
Hi, Veronika.
With a K. I love it.
Yes. It's very Russian of me.
It is very Russian of you. I love it.
Very Russian of me.
Crime against coffee. You know, coffee, I didn't know how to make coffee. I didn't learn how to make true coffee until my 30s. Like of my own, because back then we'd have Keurigs and shit. We had to have like actual Mr. Coffee and all those kind of things, and Krups. I had Krups maker, all these things, and I didn't realize I was making bad coffee until someone told me my coffee was bad, and they taught me actually how to do it. So now I have a Keurig and a Mr. Coffee because I'm just a weird person. So now I know how to make coffee both ways.
So my problem is, for me, drinking coffee is actually a very, it's kind of a personal thing because I used to drink coffee with my dad. And my dad back in I'm from the Soviet Union. I'm back when it was the Soviet Union. Let's not Google any years, or let's not make this,
not
make this any worse than it is.
James, she's younger than we are. Just
so you know. We are. Oh, then, yeah, bro.
Yeah, James and I are the same age, by the way, Veronika.
Oh, then I'm significantly younger. So.
Oh my God.
I'm way younger than you guys then.
Wow.
Yes. It's your friend.
Welcome to the show, Veronika.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, James, on a side note, I'm also significantly taller, but that's okay.
Really? Oh my gosh, so funny.
I mean, not that that's hard to do, but that's not the point. So by the way, this genuinely is my sister from another mister, which is the only reason. I can totally tell. I love her like a sister. Probably treat her like one too. But, yeah. Like, I'm an only child, so this is what I think it should be like. I'm not sure. But when I was a kid, my dad would make coffee for me, and he would have one of those, these giant earthenware mugs, and he would make his coffee like Russian style. And so because he had this little, toddler wanting coffee to spend time with her dad, I would get a cup that would have literally this much coffee and that much cream in it.
Oh yeah.
And that's how I learned to drink coffee. So nobody asks me to make coffee for them, because it's the same as just taking a cup of half and half. And so what's the point in that? So I was like, ooh, coffee and conversation. I'm like, okay, well, cream and conversation, but it's.
Well, I'll tell you something. So my grandmother, Mitzi, that was the thing for us in high school. She would stay over our house sometimes, and we'd have coffee and donuts and a cigarette in the morning. Now, it was back in the 80s. So I'll tell people my age. It was the 80s. And so we'd go, and so I go, she would smoke Virginia Slims, because she came a long way, baby, I guess. And I go, can I have one really quick? And she's like, shh, don't tell your mother. And I just, he's smoking a little. I was like, oh my God. It's like smoking air or whatever, but it was like whatever. But it was kind of like, I had a little bit of coffee, we had a donut, and she used to she worked for the city of LA. They're down in City Hall, actually. And so we used to just get up really early with her, and that was my time with her. I'm one of 10,000 kids. So that was my chance to kind of just be with her separately and connect with her. And I was 14, 15, 16, I mean, maybe 17. And she would come over maybe a couple times a month, 3 or 4 times a month, and we would do that. That was our thing. So when she passed, the first day I had a coffee, I went and got Virginia Slims, and I had a coffee, cigarette, and I donate her off. So I know I kind of think of her when I drink coffee in the morning too.
I love that. My dad was a smoker too. And when I was growing up, he was like, don't you ever smoke? That whole do as I.
Yes, say, not as I do.
Well, in my house, it was very different. It was a typical Russian. It was like, I said no. There was no back talking. There was no, I remember as I was graduating from high school, I'm like, maybe I'll take a year off. He's like, just looked at me and walked away. There was none of this Americanism, right? So he was very much, no, you will not smoke. And I didn't actually start smoking until I was older. And then I'm like, you hypocrite. He'd be like, okay, let's go have a cigarette together out on the back porch. I'm like, So that kind of became, actually, when he passed away, one of the things that I did was when we came home, I had a cigarette too, because I had stopped smoking. I had stopped smoking by then, but it was like, it was my way to reconnect with my dad too. Yeah.
And I think, well, Melissa, we've never talked about coffee on this show. This is coffee conversation. We never really talked
about coffee conversation. And I would add that my sister and I, when my dad passed away, had a moment, but we weren't smoking cigarette. We were, in his honor, smoking something else.
Oh, okay.
That hadn't been done for many moons. Many moons.
Yes.
And my mom thought we were ridiculous. I'm just saying. Yeah. But it's interesting that we've honored our, in that moment, our parents in that way. He was a big tea drinker. My mom was a big coffee drinker. But my coffee and conversation, James, actually started around my grandparents' table. I would, as soon as I drove and was licensed and had a car, I'd go visit my grandparents and spend the night. And I loved Saturday mornings because Nana would make the coffee and she'd make pop toast. And we'd sit around the table and they would argue. And they loved each other, but they were kissing and arguing. And I just sat there and just fell in love with them as people, having coffee and conversation. So
there's something about that. There's something about that, that generation. We're all talking about that generation, that they read the newspaper and they had coffee and they smoked cigarettes. And yeah, all this stuff was probably bad for you, whatever. But the whole point was there was something about this kind of slow down moments together. We all three were just basically said that. I mean, it was this whole thing where nowadays just like, I'm grabbing this, I'm going over here, and I can do this, I'll see you later. Like this is like in the morning was your time. Well, see, my grandmother also say too, it's great for the morning constitutional, drinking coffee and a cigarette. She was right though. I was like, it does help move things along. So that's right, girl. But it was like, but it was all about slowing down for a second, having that moment, and then you did the world. Then the world came on. I feel like all three of us just basically shared that experience. I mean, that's just something that from that generation. I think that's what's really interesting. I think it's so interesting. But we never talk about coffee. But so Melissa, what kind of coffee do you really like? I mean, when other than this coffee thing, I'm just curious, like what do you gravitate towards usually?
Well, I love a fresh whole bean ground up a little bit, either in a pour over or French press. Those are my favorites because I really love the taste of coffee. Love the taste of coffee. And I'm on my mom's side, I'm Armenian. Right. And so what I remember was going, my great grandmother had Armenian coffee, and she would bring us up and she had special cups. They weren't really special, but they were special to the great grandkids. And she would make the coffee and we would kind of choke it down. But the best part was she would read the leaves on the bottom. And so we loved to have our, I guess it was tea, but it was coffee. I don't know. I'm confused by that, but they're on the bottom and she would read our cups. There's this whole thing about once you finish it, because you had to finish it, then you turned it over. Yeah. And then so Veronica's nodding, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love that. I'm like, yes. Do you see gold? Do you see crowns? Do I, princess travel and adventure?
Do you see a Barbie? Do you see a...
No.
No, much more mature than I have ever been.
Like, do you see a Louis Vuitton anywhere? What are we looking for here? No.
See, Veronika thought big. She was like, okay, I want to care about the Barbie dream house. I want the dream house. That's what she wants to see. She's like,
I want the Malibu.
There you go. Yes.
Right. Well, yeah. I was telling Melissa, you have to dream big when you live small. So right? Like you have to put those thoughts. Let me tell you, this came pretty naturally. I mean, this really is what you see is what you get. So, and Melissa can attest to that fact. So yeah, I'm like, got any pretty cars in there? You got? Yeah.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. That's funny. I love it. So yeah. So, But yeah, I love I like coffee. I stopped drinking it for 6 years, got back to it again. I don't care. I like it. I don't care at this point. I drink anything, Spell. I'm not a snob. I go to Starbucks. I'm like, just give me that one over there and ground it, and I'll just. Do you have a circular? I don't know what I have. Just give it to me. I don't know. I'm like that old person. I don't know what it is. Just give it to me. I don't know what's going on. They smile and laugh like that old man, and I know they do. They give me that look like, okay, old man, and they go, and then they pour it, and they ground it. They go, here you go. Thank you very much. I know those looks.
If you guys are in the mood, because it's the season right now, since you mentioned Starbucks, their pistachio latte. There's a little extra. I'm sorry, hairball? Do we have a problem here? Are we having an issue here?
I think my hair is coming out. I don't know what's going on.
Excuse me.
Pistachio. Yeah.
Oh no, you have to get a little. You have to have them give an extra a pump of syrup because you have to really get that flavor out. Oh. I'm not a pumpkin spice. I'm not. You're not going to see me in like the jeans tucked into the boots. I'm like, I don't go hunting for pumpkin spice every fall. I leave that to the professionals. That's not my thing. But the pistachio, I could go like, I think they grow on trees. I'm not sure. I could go like pistachio picking, but I definitely don't go pumpkin spice.
Okay, so I worked in farm and ag. I can tell you about pistachio. But I'm just gonna spare all that. But here's the thing: pistachios are not my favorite, and my sister loves just the pistachio. Likes to eat them, the flavored ones. Pistachio ice cream. I just that's one of the few flavors. Pumpkin, every cheese, pumpkin spice. I can do pumpkin pie. That's it. But pumpkin flavoring, I'm like, I can't do it. I've tried it. And so every season I'm like, pumpkin spice waffles, pumpkin spice yogurt. I'm like, ooh, I want to hurl chunks. I want to spew chunks all over the place when I see something like that. So I'm gonna take your word for it. The pistachio is like, if you like pistachio out there, you should try it. James Lott Jr. will not.
Yeah.
James Lott Jr. will move
and on. There you have that.
Very Russian of James, wasn't it?
Yes.
There you have that.
I will try. I'll go to my peppermint mocha, but I will not be doing no pistachio latte.
Yeah, no peppermint mocha for me. Thank you.
Not really?
No.
Like that.
I need to be me. I need to. I am first of all, as I said, I am a cream coffee kind of girl. So that I'm not really. I perhaps making this kind of full circle. I may not be the person to talk to about coffee. I realize this now. I may not be the one to be all judgy about others' drinking habits when it comes to coffee, given that I pretty much drink cream. So yeah, maybe not. So pistachio, something to say.
So the coffee you're drinking basically is just almost for taste then. You don't really need it then, do you? Or do you need it? Like I need it.
I start my day with it's like the perfect drug for me. The coffee, the stimulation, the taste, the texture, everything.
This is my, I can go a day without coffee, but I mean, that's pretty much it. But I think it's really just habit, and it's something to do in the morning. And this is especially since we've been all doing this work from home thing for so long now, which I'm not sure. Has it been a month, a year, a decade? I've lost track of time. Every day for one thing, every day feels like a Monday to me. Okay. So I have to like cycle through when I wake up in the morning. It's a Monday. Wait, no, it's not. Is it a weekend? But do I really know? No, maybe it's a Wednesday. Like this is my cycle, right? Like what day is it? Because it all feels like a Monday. I have no clue anymore what year we're in, how long we've been doing this. Okay. So this for me, since we've been doing this now, this is like my transition where it used to be, let me go, get in my car, go do whatever I'm doing, like that. There was that. And so now it's like, let me make my cup of coffee. So I have some way to divide the day. Like, okay, maybe now I should get out of my pajamas. Like maybe now I should go into my work wear, the formal pajamas. I'm not sure. Like that's really what I use this for. Because I got to tell you, as I mentioned before, this is actually all really natural. This is the first cup of coffee such as it is, and it's not even halfway done. So this is all pretty much a natural vibe, and I think that God help everyone.
I'm dying.
Made James cry.
I'm crying. I'm crying right now. I'm like, this is, you should have your own stand-up special. This is, oh my God, I'm like flustered.
I'm used to this, James. This is
I'm not. Oh, I love it. Work on every week. I love it. Oh my God. I was gonna say.
My head's gonna get so big. Careful there. I'm gonna be looking for my entourage. I'm gonna have people knocking on the door. Ms. Melamed, we're ready. 5 more minutes. No. It's gonna be, you need to be careful. This is how I used to describe myself to Melissa, and she will understand. It can be a whole lot of puppy really quick.
Oh,
like, a puppy versus a dog. It can be like a whole lot of whoa, really quick. And notice she's not arguing with that. Notice she's just nodding her head quietly. She's like, yes.
She's like, James is learning all about her. So here's what's funny. So this morning on Twitter, because I'm on Twitter, my friend posted, is it okay if you work from bed? Because just your whole thing about how everybody's at home now. And so I posted, I've made deals at 11 p.m. in bed with a glass of wine in my robe in the last 2 years. And everybody's tweeting it now, like, oh my God, it's so funny. I'm like, I'm telling you the truth. I mean, I've actually literally have brokered deals, like in my bed, lights down, glass of wine. They can't see me. And I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that organizing thing. And sure, we can work that out. That'll be $75 now. And I can do the whole thing, literally brokered the whole deal. Went back in bed, was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I mean, I've done that many times during this last 2 years. Because it's that crazy now. It's just like, there's no such, people email me whenever they feel like it. I get emails just whatever day, whenever they feel like it. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, does anybody know what time it is anymore? I'm like, there's no Monday through Friday anymore for me, I've noticed in my life. It's completely just like, I'm gonna email you at 3 in the morning on Saturday. Oh, okay, sure. Okay. Or text me. I get some text about some work on like a 7 in the morning on a Saturday. I'm like, my hair's still asleep. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. And I'm like, but you're right. It's like, everything just blends together. It's just one long year. I don't know, they're like, can you wait for the weekend? I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, wait for the weekend. I don't even know what that means.
I have never, first of all, I'm now going to call you the Hugh Hefner of the insurance industry. You are now my Hugh Hefner. Congratulations. Stick a camera in that room, make a nighttime show of it. Games at night, you're good. I have to say, I have never and I'm a worker bee, and that comes from being an immigrant, a refugee. It comes from my parents. It comes from how they grew up. Like I'm a worker bee. At the same time, I have to say, I've never worked so continuously as I have since we started this. There's no cutoff. There's no, hey, I'm leaving the office now. I'm sorry, it's home time. It's this, it's that. So when my clients have needed me, I'm like, yeah, we can talk at 7:30 at night. Yes, of course we can do this on the weekend. There's none of this division anymore. Yeah. So it's been rough, man. I've seen things. It's been rough. It's been rough.
No, I get it. I run 2 companies, so I get it. It's whatever. My clients or my actors or everybody, all this thing. I have a question. I'm like, it's like Sunday. I'm in the tub. I'm in the tub.
I'm telling you, Hugh Hefner here. You're making my argument for me. Get a camera, do a nighttime show, charge a little extra. You got this. There's your third business, supplement your income. I see gold in your future.
And you are my new producer, executive producer. Thank you.
I got you. Let me tell you. I got you. Okay? You and I will work together. We'll come up with some ideas. I take a very reasonable 25% cut. It's very reasonable. We got this.
It's under 30. It's under 30. That's fine. That's industry standard. So that's fine. I'll leave that.
Well, it's my industry standard. I don't know about all the rest of you. But I think that's very reasonable for being the brains of this. Now I got this. Yeah.
Melissa?
Melissa's like, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Hell no.
I've always come to the office. So not really a big participant in this conversation. I get to leave every day and I get to work in the office and I get to go home at night. So I don't do deals in my robe. If I was drinking, I couldn't answer the phone because I'd probably tell everybody they're covered for everything, and that would be fantastic until it wasn't. So yeah, I still have very much cut off times.
So you all get a deal. You get a deal.
You get a deal. You're covered for everything for $2. Just $2.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not like, I mean, when I'm drinking and I answer the phone, I make sure I can talk. I mean, I do make sure I can speak.
So for anybody watching this, if he's drinking, he's still fine.
It's okay.
You're okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I know, really.
Okay.
Like really, if my colleagues and clients see this, they're like, so James, that's why that deal was so low, because he had a glass of wine by then. No, he was like, I'm just like,
they're gonna be like, this is when I need to call every time now.
Exactly, right.
This is the secret.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, you're training everybody right now.
I'm like, dang it, give away my secrets. But that's hopefully like my son, we brought like this one you brought that up, and he brought up and said it's like we're all our lives are completely different now. It's just the workplace. And I was watching a thing on 60 Minutes about that, how they're saying people are just like, they want to live at home now. They want to work at home. They're actually getting used to it. At first, they didn't want to. Now they're kind of seeing the benefits in some level to work at home. And companies are seeing it too. They're going, it's less overhead. It's, it's like everybody in the office. But now you got to worry about making sure teams stay together. Because everybody's doing their own satellite thing. How do you keep the culture together? So it's very interesting. People are just like, I'll stay home now. I won't go back to work. And with things going on with this Omicron, Opticon, whatever's going on, I'm like, yeah, people are like, I'll just stay at home, Omarion, whatever. They're like, I want to stay home. I'll stay home. I'll do work. And people are more productive than staying at home a lot of times. They're more productive.
Do you find that? It took me a while to become disciplined. I know it's hard to believe that all of this is not disciplined. I get that. It's a shock.
Let me add some context to that, James.
Okay, yes.
That is a theme through Veronika's life. It took me a while to become disciplined.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
She's she's very put together, and she's one of the smartest people that I know.
Yes. But
she is very puppy-like, and she does like to live life and explore, and she's very curious. So that tends to distract her on her paths a little bit.
Yes. Okay.
A little bit. But caveat.
Love you.
I know you're very dear to me, Melissa. Very dear to me. Here's what I recognize about myself. And I have to say that, putting friendship aside, I am absolutely grateful to the universe for having Melissa in my professional life, because this is what I realize about myself. I am so focused on taking care of others, like my clients, making sure everything is okay, because the fear of making a mistake in someone's life, and again, it really is that refugee immigrant starting from nothing and building up the fear of losing everything that so many people have worked so hard for. I am very focused on taking care of my responsibilities, that when it comes to me, I'm like, la, 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 la. Like I have to get a call from Melissa, like, okay, you need to come to my office to fill out this application. It is sitting on a table for you. I've emailed it to you X number of times. Can you email it one more? No, you come in, sit down, and because I am so, but ask me about a deadline, ask me about this, ask me about, what's going on. I can tell you right off the top of my head what's going on with everybody's lives. When it comes to me, is it Monday? Is it Wednesday? Right. What year are we in? Yeah, I'm like, ugh. And by the way, turns out when you procrastinate long enough, 99% of the time, you don't end up having to do it anyway.
That's very true.
That's true.
That's very, very true.
It just goes away. This is personal now. It's my personal life.
There's a theory that Les shared with me from way back in his work life. He knew somebody who would put all the incoming workload in his inbox. And what would happen is there would be some papers inevitably left over. And after 30 days, he'd just toss them because he figured it's just not important. No one's coming back for it. And if they need it, they'll hit me up a second time.
And the same thing with my ex-colleague at Insurance Skills Center. I won't say his name loud on here, but somebody we both knew. Same thing. He told me the same. He goes, oh, after a while, the things on the bottom, they go away. And if they really need me, they'll call me. I don't worry about getting every email. At some point, if they really, 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 really need me, then they'll call me. They'll be in front of my face, and I'll handle it then. So I go because I do as much as I can. And otherwise, it just goes either they figure it out themselves. Half the things people figure out themselves, and they call you anyways because they can. They figure out themselves. I'm like, that's a smart idea, actually.
Yeah.
Like I have found at some point that mortgage company will call you again.
Yeah, but I know what you mean though. We're being funny, but I know what you mean. Like at some point, if it's really, really that important, it'll get to the top of your list. It'll get there somehow.
Listen, again, love you like a sister. Melissa will call me. She'll make sure I don't let anything lapse. Like, you know, now you better not start changing your procedures after this because like I'm a teacher. Don't bother. Nobody's been able to yet. So just work with me the way I am.
Keep doing what you're doing, Melissa. Keep doing what you're doing.
Just keep this train going. Okay. Let's just do that.
I do think I've been more productive. I think because you're at home, your own pace, you're more comfortable, and your office is in front of you. Like you see, a lot of times I know for me, it's like I see my desk and I go, I got to take care of that stuff. And so it's always kind of there. So you want to take care of it. Or just do it at your leisure. Like I think I had a Saturday where I did some work in the morning, took a nap for 2 hours, made some lunch, did some work for a couple more hours, went outside in the garden for a few hours, came back in the house some more. It was kind of like it was at my leisure, not just a straight 8-hour day. I was able to come in. I was more relaxed. I was like, okay, now I'll work on this. Okay, and I started working on this, and I was like, oh, I'll work on that, and then I'll watch some TV, and so in some way, I think when they say it's more productive, I think for a lot of us it is because we're not. It's that 9 to 5 or 7 to 4 or 6 to 2. It's just like you think about time all the time. I know when I was at work, I was like, so when is it break time? When is it lunchtime? When is the afternoon break time? When do we leave? Those are the 4 times I couldn't wait to get to. He worked till he got there. Then he worked till you got there. Then he worked till I was like, here it's just like it's different. It's like, well, now it's me. Or you get to your work and you're like, I should eat something. I don't need anything in a couple hours. And then you kind of, it just seems more. I think I see why for some people, I shouldn't say everybody, for some people, it is, and I have friends who completely are like, no, I have a certain set time, and then when I'm done, I'm done. And I admire that too. It's like there's no right or wrong way. It's kind of, but they like a set time, then they're done. And when they leave, they don't do any work at all. No phone calls, no texts. You could be dying on a vine. They don't care. But I am off work till Monday at 6 a.m. That's how they are. I
want that schedule, Monday, 6 p.m. That's the schedule I want. 6 to 7 p.m. That's my work day.
That's it. That's my whole day. But I know people who they're serious. They're just like, no, no, you can't call me for nothing. I mean, I have friends who are in the business that I'm in, and they're like, nope, no, I don't answer. You know, my phone gets turned off until Monday. Like, I can't do that. I just can't do that. I've had a client call me at 10 o'clock at night going, I can't find the spoons. And, it's ridiculous. But as an organizer, I'm like, remember, I seriously, I'm on the phone like, okay, calm down. We're gonna find those spoons. I changed my voice, and then I know where they are. Okay, go in the kitchen. Remember when we did blank? Yes, I can't remember that. So go there to the 3rd drawer to the left. Now, first of all, I have like 9 clients. They're lucky I can remember what I did yesterday. So they're lucky sometimes they catch me on time. I'm like, okay. And I just talk to them nicely. And they go, and I'm looking at 3rd section right there. James, you're the best. I know I am. Goodbye. Click. That happened. I can never turn my phone off. I can't turn my phone off. They may need me.
I couldn't do it either. I have, things come up. People need you. Like I have learned to not always give out my personal cell phone number. That's like a boundary that I think works well for everyone. But I wish I don't think I wish I was one of those that worked because that's just not me. I couldn't do it. I'd be like, is everybody okay? Is everything okay? And then actually the worst part is I'd have to actually focus on taking care of my own things. And then a big damn. Damn, I have to do this now. Damn.
That's why Melissa's looking at you. She's like, that's why you don't want to do that. Okay.
No, she knows me so well. No, I would have to be like, oh, crap, I have to do this and to do that. And
11 years now, Veronika. 11 years.
We've known each other now for 11 years. It feels like a lot longer in a good way. Let me make sure that's understood in a really good way.
Good way.
It has. I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like,
where'd you guys meet?
We met at we joined a professional networking group, and we were in the same home group, if that makes sense. There's a bunch of different like pods, if you will, groups. And we just met through that group, and we connected, and we started doing business together, and then friendship and like sisters. Yeah, pretty quickly. I mean, it's just that when you connect with somebody immediately and you know that it's real, there's something that is just between two people. And Veronika and I just had that instantly. I think we had breakfast once and we were like, oh, this was really fun. And, well, her sense of humor first, right? She's so funny.
Yes.
And she's one of the most thoughtful people that I have met. And that combination that's a killer combination right there. So for me, and I just like the way she thinks about life. And, but there was this connection, and we just kept exploring it. And all of a sudden we're like, wow, I feel like I've known you my whole life.
Melissa, I've known Melissa nearly 20 years. So I've known a long time.
You win. I'm not, you win. I'm not taking that medal away.
No,
I know my place. I got it. Okay.
No, what I'm going to say is I'm noticing a pattern with Melissa. Melissa surrounds herself with people who are bright, broad, and broads. Abroad.
I was going to say bitches, but okay.
Bitches. But I'm noticing that we're on, because we had to get instant connection too. Remember, we had instant connection also. But like one of those things that we're the louder, crazier side of her. I feel like that's your pattern. People I'm meeting are your friends. Some folks that we know comment together, and then not meeting with your friends. I'm like, we're the ones who are outspoken, and we're just like we're all over the place, and we're bright and bold. And I'm seeing, well, just you and I, right? We're two almost kind of peas in a pod at some level, a little bit. We have a lot in common. I can see it, and we're friends. And she picked us both as friends.
I think she looks, and I'm gonna say this with love for all of us. She looks for sidekicks. You know what I mean? I think she looks for the perfect sidekick. Yeah. And there's also something about Melissa. She actually was, when we had our breakfast together, there was something about her. So, there's a lot. English is my second language. There's a lot that I had to learn. There's a lot that I didn't understand. I know people are always surprised. I
would never guess. Wow.
There are certain things that I just like, idioms and certain things about even life to this day that I was like, So I remember very well the first time Melissa and I had breakfast together, I actually felt safe enough to ask her a question that had been bugging me for decades. Don't do the math. I'm still significantly younger. So I asked her, because I was dying. She ordered oatmeal.
Okay.
And it came with a side of milk. Yeah. And for the life of me, I'm like, why the hell do you bring, I'm like, what is it with these weird, like, what is this thing with the milk and the oatmeal? And so she's doing her thing, like the raisins, whatever. And I'm I need to ask him. I'm so sorry. I just don't understand it. And she's like, well, it's a cereal. It's a hot cereal, but it's still, and so it wasn't until 11 years ago that somebody actually explained to me why they brought milk to you with oatmeal.
Wow.
But there's something about Melissa that I felt comfortable and safe, and not to be judged, had I known at the time. But there was something.
She blows the F out of you that it's like.
I'm all like, yeah, now she's not like.
That's like
back in the day.
Yeah, and when I walked away from that experience, and I've told Veronika this, I'm like, why did she think that was such a big deal question? Like, that's to me a logical question. If you don't eat, if you don't eat oatmeal,
right,
it doesn't make sense why I'm pouring milk into hot cereal. But
right.
So for me, so my takeaway was, I didn't think that was a big deal at all. But Veronika really felt, that she didn't want to be made fun of or put down because she didn't know. And that's not in my person. Like I don't go there. I just, unless I know you really well, then I do tease a little bit.
Just a little bit.
That's actually
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
But I get it.
I thought that was a thoughtful question.
But
it was something that I had, it wasn't something that I felt comfortable asking because it seemed like such a part of American life that it's like, you know, like, but this, I felt comfortable asking. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the plunge. I've been in this country for like 30 some odd years now. I can ask somebody this question.
Well, no, I get it coming from immigrants and I have family members who speak different languages and stuff. Me going to other countries, it's kind of one thing you don't want to stand out. You don't want to look stupid. You don't want to sound stupid. Like everybody's doing this, so to speak. So like, but right. I don't really get it. But I don't want to sound out of place. I want to know what's going on. I wish I just knew already. But you know, and I get that. I totally get that. You don't want to be embarrassed.
You know, when I came here, it was a very different time. You know, it was still the USSR versus the US. Like it was a very different, being Russian, speaking Russian. It was like I'm actually officially Ukrainian. I don't want to get any comments about this. I don't want to get any, I'm like, let's not, I'm actually Soviet, but if we're going to be politically correct, I would be Ukrainian now.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. I was at a food truck thing a couple weeks ago and I was like, oh my God, this food is so good. You know, I'm Russian too. And they're like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, Kiev. You're Ukrainian. Oh, like, Lordy. Okay. Hey. I'm like, I'm old enough to be Soviet, so let's not go there. So it was a very different thing back in the day, you know, so you try to fit in, you do. I'm very thankful to my parents that they just, you know, they did fantastic. I think they did fantastic with me. I think they did a bang up job.
They do too, Veronika.
Thank you. If you ask them, maybe they went awry a couple places, but we're good. And so
next visit, I'm asking mom.
Let's not ask my mother. She's, you know,
yeah, totally.
I have an amazing relationship with my parents, and I had with my dad. But man, they're like the quickest. They're like that society was very much spare the rod, spoil the child, that kind of thing. Like, thank God, not physically, but she talks too much. I'm like, I got this. Like, okay, I got this. Let's just focus on the fabulous. We're good. But it was just very hard to, you know, you didn't want to draw attention to yourself. You wanted to fit in. Yeah. And so it was genuinely, there's something about Melissa that made me feel comfortable after all that time asking a basic question, like, why do they give you milk with oatmeal? Like, you know, so.
Well, you know, let's not have our own thing because I was calming her down from speaking. So it's kind of funny. You have this weird similar thing that I was like, when I say, hey girl, you do it, but I was just like, I was the monitor for his class and she was nervous. So I said that.
Yeah.
Really?
Believe it or not, Veronika, I was very shy at one point in my day, and I had a hard time walking in and speaking in front of a group of people. And I had to do that at a conference, and James made that possible for me. So I was like having a mini panic attack, and James was there, and he was very, you know, that pass the butter voice he just did a little earlier. Yes. I've experienced that voice.
Pass the butter. Pass the butter.
Hey, was he wearing his silk pajamas? Like, was it that whole, like, I'm like, this whole, I'm telling you, man, this is like, this image, like,
I missed out on that fun.
But oh my God. So
no, he was a friend in that moment. And I just, I've never forgotten it. And it like the milk thing, it seems so simple, but right when it's happening to you, it's super important. So.
And for me, almost like, listen to you, I was like, well, everybody gets nervous. There's no big deal. Like to me, it wasn't. I'm like, I'm here. I want you to do good while you're up there, or do well. Excuse me. I do have degrees, people. I do.
Yeah, ESL here. Remember that.
Yeah, no. I go do good here. I do bad. I do the goodest. I mean, to me, it was like, yeah, well, of course I'll help you, but you're fine, girl. You'll be fine. Get up there, just talk. You know what you're talking about. Like, to me, it was, but other people would be afraid to even say that. People would be afraid to admit it or look for help. Like you said, be afraid to do it because they don't want to look bad. Like they're like, no, like, okay, you're fine. Let me do it. And she did fine. And now she speaks everywhere. So it's one of those kind of things. I love it.
It's one of those, you know, it's kind of funny because our friendship really did start from something. It's always the small things that start a friendship. right? It's, and then based on that is you build these really grand adventures and these really great things. And like these, you do all of this. And again, Melissa, TikTok, Big Ben is fixed. I keep trying to get, like, I want her to travel, like these grand adventures, but they always start with these little things that don't seem to mean much, but to you, they're everything. Like the fact that I could trust her with something like that, the fact that she could come to you and say, I'm having, like it's those kinds of things. And it's interesting to me because the connection that I have with Melissa is very special. And it's very hard as we get older to also find that friendship with people. Older. It was like I was very fortunate. Don't get all weepy on me. I was very fortunate to find Melissa, to have this friendship that I was able to grow and to develop as an adult. It's so rare.
No, it's hard because
so rare.
As we get older, we know more. Miss, I just had to talk on another show. We think we know more, so we've been hurt already by them many times. A lot of things that happen that the walls just go up. So you think, well, I had my friendships already. I already had the ones, or I have my 2 or 3 friends already. I'm not letting anybody else in. Like, no, you gotta be. I mean, we just want this. You gotta be open. You gotta be open and like to the universe and let people come through and see if they can match up with you and gain a new friend. You just never know. And we had a guy on the show, his name was Flobo Boys. We became friends 2.5 years ago. I feel like I've known him forever, but I didn't think I was gonna make any more friends. I mean, I'm in my 50s, I'm like making new friends. And so but it was so weird. It was like he saw me at this place we both were hosting at. It was like, I heard about you. You're James Lott Jr. And we started talking. And then during the pandemic, we became closer. And it's just one of those kind of things I just didn't expect it. But I stayed open, saying that I'll welcome new friendships. I mean, I welcome some new friendships as I get older. I don't want to be closed off.
Yeah.
And I was saying, the education continues till you die. I mean, all this stuff continues till you. It's not over till it's over. Lenny Kravitz.
Well done. Very well done right there. I like that.
Thank you. I get fun with the rest of them. But that's the thing. And so you just said that. Like that's kind of like getting newer friends. I had to do a show recently on that. Like, can you make new friends when you're an adult? Especially in big cities like this. And when I say city, I mean like all of Southern California. I mean, I guess we're all spread out. I live here and you live way over there and the jobs are over there. Like it's not going to small town USA where you see each other on Main Street and you become friends, you go to the same bar, the same restaurant. We don't have that. It's not a dense city. I made better friends more friends in San Francisco or like New York, it's much more denser. Here's it's like, I mean, we're all over the place. So to make a new friend from a meeting or something, I actually keep up with it.
Yeah.
Because friendships are work. You have to keep up with it. You have to keep,
She is so much work. Oh.
I knew you were not going to resist that.
And I walked her into.
Let me put it to you this way. Oy vey. She's so much work.
I walked her into it. I threw the pitch and she just went.
And I am appreciative.
And that's where we'll end the show because we can talk forever. Veronika, you're the bomb. I mean, you have to come back. You have to come back. You just have to. You've now become one of our favorite guests.
I would love to. This was you. You're both amazing.
Oh,
thank you. And I mean, James, we're friends now. You get this.
Our friends.
I mean, you have to deal with all of this too now. She'll give you tips and pointers.
Girl, you got to deal with all this. So good luck to you. Good luck to you.
Melissa's like, yeah, you two go at it.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic.
It is, as I was saying. And one day, if we ever meet in person one day, that'll be combustible.
So I suggest you and I go for my favorite hike trip. We go up and down the escalators at Neiman Marcus.
Well, I was going to say hiking. You don't hike. There's no outdoors. Like, what are you talking about?
No. Outdoors is where the outdoorsy things are. No.
No, we don't do that.
We'll go hiking. We'll go hiking up and down the escalators at Neiman Marcus.
Sounds fine.
We'll pick up some souvenirs there. Yeah.
I have an old Neiman Marcus bag. My friend goes, "What store is that?" I'm like, "Never mind. I don't have time to explain to you. I don't have time to explain to you. I don't have time."
James, we got this. All right, got this. We'll look pretty.
Yes.
We got this. I have my Gucci hiking boots. Perfect for the occasion.
My goodness.
I have my Coach bags and everything. We'll be fine. We'll be working on it.
We got this. Melissa, you can come too.
She's like, I'll be there, bitches. Yes, that's right. I want to
I'm sure the two of you together, maybe small doses than a whole outdoor campaign.
She's all like, I'm going to be about 10 steps behind just watching this happen and not really being a part of it. I don't know them, but come get some popcorn and watch this show.
Watch what's happening. Yes, yeah. I see that. I love it. Well, thank you, Ms. Veronika, for coming on. And so I'm James and
I'm Melissa.
This is Coffee and Conversation with James and Melissa. We're here on Mondays, and we're here by ourselves or with special friends, talking about all kinds of stuff here on the show. And we want to thank you for watching and listening to us. We appreciate it. You can go to any streaming service you want to go to get your podcast from and listen to us. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Google, all over the universe. Go there, follow, hit, and listen to all of our shows. We have some great people come on, some of our friends, and we have all kinds of conversations like today. And then also on my YouTube channel, JLJ Media, I'm the JLJ of JLJ Media. Go there, hit subscribe. The button's down here somewhere. I always point at the wrong spot, but it's here somewhere. It's a red button that says subscribe. So do it. Hit that button. Don't make me angry. And everybody out there, please be careful. Please be safe. Enjoy your coffee and your conversation with your friends. Value your friends. That's what this whole thing is all about. And we'll see you next time.